Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. I wanted to come on today and talk about the significance of the times, why everything has changed, because we are in the age of, Aquarius, as some people know, but what does that even mean? We've left the Piscean age. What does that even mean? For me, the way I feel is like we have left the age of belief, beloveds, and we are now in the age of knowing, where you better know for yourself. So in the age of belief, it was okay to believe something because, to believe your pastor that God is like this and God is like that, to believe your pastor about Jesus came and died for your sins, etc., etc. But in the age of knowing, you need to know that for yourself. You need to go know God for yourself. You need to know, the history and her story, our story for yourself. You need to have figured it all out, because belief won't get you nowhere. Belief was the greatest entrapment of the previous age, where many of us got lazy with our own personal initiations into the truth and instead believed. And we were led to believe. So much was done to program thoughts and ideas and a foreign matrix into us, where, and it's all just a fabrication. It's all just gibberish at the end of the day. It's all so confusing. But in the age of belief, you could rely on someone else's power to help save you, You could rely on your pastor or helping you, praying for you and helping to heal your child or whatever. Did those things even really happen? In the age of belief, we gave our power to someone else in the hope that that person would save us. And the age of belief made many of us extremely lazy mentally, which is why many find themselves in an extremely tricky situation. Because in the age of knowing, it's all you. It's all you, beloveds. All people can do is direct you to the right information, maybe share a few truths with you, but you must get to know them for yourself. You can't listen to a preacher or a pastor. You can't listen to me as Dr. Mumbi and take that as true or false. I believe you or I don't believe you. Those are irrelevant things now, beloveds. Those are irrelevant. It's all about knowing. And the first thing you need to know is thyself. Know thyself first, and everything will become clear to you. And I think that is the advice I would give my brothers and sisters who are still in the religious psychosis. Belief ain't gonna do it anymore, beloveds. You have to know. And there's so many confusing things that have been put in your mind to prevent you from knowing. Because you see, knowing is a higher state of being. Belief is a much lower state of being, because when you believe, when you're in a state of belief, you're relying on other people's ideologies, other people's religions, other people's Bibles, other people's scriptures or interpretations of the scriptures, other people's, knowledge of the world. So there was a lot where, we'd seek the knowledge in books. We'd be reading, we'd be doing all this stuff. I mean, that still has its place. But now all of those must become an instrument. The age of the Bible is over, beloveds. The age where you believed in some story, the age of belief is done. You have to know those stories for yourself. It's not good enough to believe in Moses. You have to know Moses for yourself and look into the 12 books of Moses and recognize that Moses was actually a high-level magician, and so was Jesus. In fact, most teachers that have come, most masters, most Christed ones, have been masters of air, earth, wind, air, earth, water, and fire, which is why they even got those titles to begin with, to master those things. We ain't even gone into mastering anything. We've just been believing, living on belief, wasting precious time when we should be knowing the power of water, the power of plants, the power that is in us. We should even be knowing ourselves. That should be our most urgent and sacred agenda, to know thyself. Because now that we're in the age of knowing, beloveds, what you survived on in the age of belief could actually kill you in this age. What you feel may have elevated you and protected you and been a comfort to you could now really mash you up, because you could believe the wrong thing. Belief is not good enough, beloveds. You must know. And you must actively know. Actively know means you know and you implement it into your own life. So if you recognize you're a spiritual being having a human experience, and that any food you absorb the spirit of that food, that should make you want to avoid immediately. Try to figure out how you're going to stop eating meat, chicken, etc., etc. That's the knowledge, the age of knowing. And you see, in the age of knowing, there's no debating, beloveds. You know what you know, and you know what you know. I know what I know, and I know what I know. The only thing I concentrate on is expanding my knowing. And you see, knowing is rooted in imagination. And what the age of belief did is that it killed many people's imagination, beloveds. It killed many people's, capacity for creation by making them followers even in their own lives. So the age of belief is over, beloveds. And it is the age of belief that has manipulated so many people to believe in their governments, to believe in that their doctor has their best interests at heart, to believe that their pastor is not going to a juju man on Saturday to get powers to come mash up the people on Sunday, to believe that the teacher who is teaching me is qualified to teach me, or the teacher who is teaching my children is qualified to teach them. There's so much, because belief comes with blind trust. And that is why many people are in the current situations they're in. From poverty. Poverty was engineered. Poverty is a result of belief, beloveds. Sickness is a form of belief, is a consequence of belief. There are so many negative consequences of belief, beloveds, of believing. Believing is not strong enough. It ain't going to get you nowhere in the age to come. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? Reporting from a superbly sunny day at the foothills of Mount Zion, Mount Meru, whatever you want to call it. Just taking in all the amazing downloads that I'm getting from nature. And I wanted to really share the fact that we have moved, beloveds, from the age of belief to the age of knowing. The age of belief, you could have winged it. You could have just somehow, without really knowing anything yourself, but believing in this and believing in that, or, tapping into this person's energy or tapping into that person's energy, was kind of like you would ride their coattails and they could, take you along their little belief system or stream. But now that we've moved into the age of knowing, everything changes, where now it's literally every woman and every man for themselves, and every child. That's why you'll notice a lot of children have come in with some super special skill and knowing. It's like a lot of old souls are back. For you parents who have those special children, several of you have written to me, it's really your responsibility at such a time as this to safeguard them, knowing that they already have their own spiritual protection that also covers you, but those are definitely stories for other days. So what should we be doing in the age of knowing? The age of knowing, the only priority, beloveds, is not to be concerned with what is happening in the world. You must become, in this world, in this world but not of it, whichever. What I think is in this world but not of it, which means that you can't allow the belief systems of the past to really be dictating any choice that you're making now. And that's why, it's not so much about even just testing the spirits, but testing the information. Test your beliefs, challenge your beliefs, question your beliefs. It's no longer acceptable to just believe in Jesus Christ without having fully researched everything you could research about, where he came from, and going deep, doing deeper dives into just the common stuff that's written for the masses, but into the deeper stories of many, many things around him. I mean, if you're gonna believe in Jesus, at least even read the Apocrypha and find out the amazing miracles that he committed as a child, if you're going to believe. Because I believe, and you see, I was going to say I believe there were master teachers. You see, believing is not good enough. You have to know. And when it moves, and when we move into knowing, you realize that knowing is not like belief. There's so many things you can dabble in, so many ideas you can be hooked to, but knowing, you have to be really precise. And there's it's such a deeper work to know. So the easiest thing is to know thyself, because in knowing thyself, you will know the world. But if you try and know all the facts around you about what you believed, you may never really get around to knowing yourself, and you may get weary and tired. Because breaking down the false belief systems, beloveds, that's where the real warfare is. The real warfare is not out here. I mean, whatever is happening in physical reality is controlled by the highest mental power. We were disempowered. We were taken off that throne. We were the highest thinkers, the highest spiritual beings. And we were taken off that and made to adopt a belief of the gods of a lesser being, beloveds. And they now became the ones that had the highest thoughts, because so many of our people were believing in what they were saying. But now all of that magic is gone, because in the age of the belief, beloveds, there was a lot of wizardry and sorcery that was being used against the common folk to just keep them in blindness, to manipulate them, because there have always been those who know, and they loved playing and mashing up those who believe. They even look down on them. That's what the secret societies has been about. Those who know. And you see, they're dumping so much spiritual knowledge onto the matrix through their movies, like the crazy movies they're coming out with right now. There's so much knowledge they're dumping, because now that we're in the knowledge of, we're in the age of knowing, they want to make sure that you have so much, you have an information overload. So they'll give even the stupidest people airtime to confuse you more. And so that's why, beloveds, it is possible to go and know and research and know outside of yourself, to kind of break down some of the mental chains. But the easiest route is to know thyself first. And when you start knowing thyself, then a lot of things will just become clear to you, and the right knowledge will be presented to you. Because if you're going out there blindly right now from a place of belief, trying to know, there is too much that's happening in the spirit, in the spirit realm, that you're not even aware of, that will trip you up. So the priority right now is you and knowing thyself for real. And moving into that knowing, the more you know thyself, the more you shall know of the world. And the more the world and the ancestors and the God of our ancestors shall trust you with the knowledge of the world. Because knowledge is power, beloveds. It's not like I know, so I'm powerful. But knowledge has the keys to do some pretty amazing things, what many would call miracles. And the only thing that shall set you free right now is knowing. Know yourself. Know what's going on. We're in the age of knowing, beloveds. Belief ain't gonna cut it. Relying on other people's knowledge ain't gonna cut it. Now you must fully stand in your power and take responsibility for yourself. But so many have been indoctrinated to believe that they can't. But the stronghold of belief is no more, beloveds. Just as Babylon is falling. Move into knowing thyself. And maybe I'll do a show on steps to knowing thyself. But there's a lot out there, beloveds. And it's just really sitting in a quiet place and just turning the focus inwards. It's nothing spooky. It's nothing like you have to go on a pilgrimage and not talk to anyone and not do this and not do that. No, you just have to tune in to the right channel. And the right channel is your own inner knowing. Until next time, tuko pamoja.